Hello guys, good morning. Good morning Murli. Good morning PN Rao. Can we start with Dr. Compose today? Okay. Okay, let me go to this user registration system where we have actually created the user registration system, and probably it has some endpoints, controllers and all these kind of things. So there's a post mapping which actually creates the user behind the scenes. Okay. So today what I just wanted to do, I just wanted to create a Docker Compose file again. So create a file, docker-compose.yaml. You can also create YML or YAML, both are fine. There's no problem at all. Okay. So here I have actually explained, right? So what is the version that we need to use for Docker? Compose tool 3.8. 3.8. Okay. So let me tell you again. Okay. So if I just go to this one, Docker Compose version, there is something called Compose file versions and upgrading. So if you see here, the Docker engine release, if the Docker engine is greater than 19 version, then probably we need to use the Docker Compose tool version as 3.8. And if you just identify our Docker desktop, go to the settings and go to this one. There's the Docker engine. Click on this Docker engine. So here the Docker engine version is 24 version. Okay, if the version is greater than 19, then probably we need to use 3.8 as the Docker Compose tool version. And this is what I was using over here right now. Okay, I just wanted to press enter. And here, if you can see, there is a services tag which is already available over here. And here I just wanted to define the service name as user registration system, which is a Spring application name. I just wanted to give the service name exactly same like this, but you can also give different if you just wanted to. But I just wanted to follow these naming conventions only. Okay. So anything will work. Okay. So now user registration system is there. And then probably what is the image name that I need to use? I just wanted to use registration. That's it. And then probably I just wanted to use the build. I just wanted to build this image. So how I can build this image? By mentioning the Docker file location. Okay. So here you don't have to mention the current directory and with Docker file, something like this. It will actually find with the dot itself. You just have to give the directory of the Docker file. That's it. Remaining things, it will do it from its side. Okay. So now the next thing, the ports mapping. So here I just wanted to expose it on 8080 and I can also run the container port on 8080. Okay. And see that application.yaml file does not have server.port. Okay. If server.port is mentioned over here, then probably we need to use the same port over here itself. As a container port. Okay. So we have seen all these kind of scenarios. Now, I think that's all right. So we don't have to do anything else apart from this one. Correct? So that is the total idea. Now, I just wanted to create another image. So let's run this application for now. And let's see what are all the issues that we are going to get right now. Okay. So I just wanted to open this project inside the Explorer. I just wanted to run this inside the Explorer using Git Bash instead of using the IntelliJ provided terminal, because this Git Bash will be really big and see what are all the logs that it is going to generate for us. So here I just wanted to use this one. And I just wanted to do a Maven clean install. First of all, just to make sure that everything is on the right path. Just build this image. Okay, I have not shared the screen. Sorry, guys. Sorry for that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I think you can unraise your hands. PN Rao, Ramo, Giridhar. We'll talk later. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what I have done, so the same thing. So I have actually used this spring.application.name as a service name over here inside the services. So here, what is this version? 3.8, right? Right now I'm using 3.8 version. So if you just ask me truly how I'm using Docker Compose tool version as 3.8, and if you see what is the Docker version, the Docker engine version, it's 24, right? So just close this one and just go to this browser. There's something called Docker Compose file format version and Docker engine release. So since our engine is greater than 19 version, so we are using 3.8. So that's the total idea. Okay. Yeah. So now, so here I just wanted to define services. It can be n number of services inside the Docker Compose. Now, the service name is user registration system since I'm using the same spring.application.name. Since it's a very good best practice to use this spring.application.name as the service name. Okay. And here you can give the image name as a registration and probably let's run this application again. So let's go to this and do a doc. I have just actually performed a Maven clean install to make sure that it has generating the correct jar. And I just wanted to do Docker compose up and let's see what is going to happen. So there will be some issues because if you see this application.yaml, it is actually communicating with our local database. That means localhost. Docker container localhost cannot access our localhost, right? So Docker environment cannot access our local machine database. So, and if you can see over here, it is just going to build the image and then it is going to run the image as a container. And can you see here, there is a default network created by the Docker Compose tool. Okay. And let me tell you the advantages of using this network. Okay, now can you see this? It was unable to connect to the database. Can you see this one? Communications links failure. Communication link failure. Okay, so it was unable to connect to the local database, right? So that's the total idea. And I just wanted to stop this. And now I just wanted to define another service. I just wanted to give this service names can be your choice. I just wanted to give MySQL DB. This is service name. And here, I just wanted to give the image as MySQL. And here, I just wanted to expose the ports. So I just wanted to expose that on 3307. That is the exposed port because 3306 is already taken by my machine. So let me remove this first of all. Yeah. So this is a local database. So it is already using 3306. I cannot expose again on 3306. Okay. So that's the reason I'm just exposing it on 3307 to my local machine and 3306 is a container port. So that's very simple. And here I just wanted to provide some environment variables. So here you have to use MySQL root underscore password. And what is the root password? I just wanted to give the root password as root only. So see here, whenever you are installing MySQL database, it will ask you for the root password because root username is what is the root username for MySQL? It's root, right? So I just wanted to use MySQL root password also as root. And here I just wanted to create another user, MySQL underscore user. And here I just wanted to create Docker MySQL and MySQL underscore password. I just wanted to use this one. And then MySQL underscore database. And let's see. The database is registrations, I guess. Yeah, I just wanted to create the database while installing this image. Yeah, any name to DockerDB. Yeah. username and password also. Yeah, I will tell you, don't worry right now. I will tell you everything, okay? So that's all. And what I need to do, let's say if I just wanted to start this application, let's say I just wanted to do Docker Compose up again. And I just wanted to go to this and make sure that my images are running. I think this container is already there, so not a problem. So here, can you see this? This is actually, creating user registration system -1. I don't want this to be user registration system -1. I just wanted to give some container name. So there is also a container name which we can give. So here I just wanted to give the image name and the container name as the same. And here also the same. So when we are not using Docker Compose, it is actually generating different container names, right? If you just wanted to avoid that, then probably you can just give container name. So here I just wanted to use MySQL only. So now if I just do, just go to this Docker and delete the containers. You don't have to do it, but I will tell you what is the reason behind doing this. There are some commands also which you can use it. Yeah. So now I'll just go to this containers, and now I will do Docker Compose up, and let's execute this command and see what is going to happen. Okay. So let's say I just wanted to do Docker Compose up. Now you can see that it is actually going to pull MySQL DB from the Docker Hub. So here, if you can see, the image name is MySQL. So this image is already existed in the Docker Hub. So that's the reason it is actually pulling that image inside our Docker image, that is MySQL, and it is going to start a container where it actually runs MySQL database inside Docker, not in our local machine. Okay, let's see and understand how this is actually doing it behind the scenes. Let's wait for some time. Okay. Now, see here, this is a network. Correct? Now, if you can see that, right now, even though it is not able to connect to the database, the reason being, do you know the reason why it is not able to connect to the database? I'll tell you. Okay. So if I just stop this, what we are actually using it over here, localhost. So here, when two services, when there are two Docker containers, they can talk to each other directly with the service name. So this is a service name. I can just use MySQL DB. And I just wanted to explain one more thing. When two Docker containers are talking to each other, since they are part of the same network, we don't have to use 3307 over here. Got it? Since they are part of the same network. So this is a Docker container, and this is a Docker container. These two Docker containers can talk to each other directly with the service name. When they are talking directly with the service name, it will interact directly with the container port, not with the exposed port. I'll tell you what is the use of this exposed port in 5 minutes. Okay, let's run this application. And so here, what is the username that we are using over here? So Docker MySQL, copy the same thing and paste it over here. And password is same. I think probably we can use the same thing. Okay, so now what I just wanted to do, I just wanted to go to this, delete each and everything. For now, I'll tell you why I'm deleting the images and containers, everything. Okay, I'll tell you in the last minute. So let's remove the volumes also. I'll tell you about these volumes also. What are these volumes? Okay, so right now I just wanted to do a Maven clean install first of all, because since we have changed the application.properties, jar file will have to contain the latest application.properties also. Okay, so let's run this Maven clean install. Okay, and I will also tell you there is something called, we need to keep restart. There is something called always. Okay, but this is not the best command to restart. You know why this is a restart always? Because let's say we don't know whether MySQL DB is going to run first or user registration system is going to run first. So here, what I just wanted to do, let's say user registration system is dependent on MySQL DB, right? Unless MySQL DB is completely up and running, user registration system cannot start. Now, if I don't keep this restart always, it will not restart second time if it is unable to connect to the database in the first time. So I will show it to you what do I mean by this property. Okay. So now let's go to this and let's clear this console and do Docker Compose up. And now let's see what is going to happen behind the scenes. Again, it is going to pull the MySQL image because we have removed the image and the container. Make sure that your internet is very fast. Unless your internet is not fast, it is actually, almost 500 plus MB. It will take a lot of time for you to build. Okay. Let's wait for some time and see the magic over here. So user registration system will start multiple times unless it connects to the database. So can you see this? It is actually building the user registration system with the new jar, and it has created a common network user registration system default. Since these two containers, registration container and MySQL container, are a part of the same network, they can communicate directly with the service name. Okay. So let's see. It is failing for the first time. See here, it has failed for the first time. Can you see this? The communications links failure. MySQL DB has not been started yet. So let's see where the MySQL DB is going to start. So here it has not started. Let's wait for some more time. And can you see here, the MySQL DB is getting started? Yeah. Can you see this? MySQL DB has been started now. See here, the MySQL community server. That means it has started and the port is 3306. Now, once it is up and running, then probably, can you see this magic, what it is going to do? See here. It has actually created the table, and then probably it has database creation is already done, and it has created the list of tables which are required for this. Okay. Now let's go and see whether we will be able to access the Docker database from our local machine or not. If you just ask me truly, what is the port that I have used? 3307, right? So I will just go to the MySQL workbench. And I just wanted to create a new connection. Let's call this as Docker database, the connection name. And what is the username? Docker MySQL. We'll just open this. And what is the port? 3307, which I have exposed. Click on OK. And click on give the password as dhanvishanmukhi@2. And now if you can see, registrations DB is there. How this registrations DB was created? Due to this one. Can you see this? Okay, not this with property, not with this property, only by this property. Because whenever you are creating MySQL database inside a Docker container, it is actually going to create the database MySQL with the database schema as registrations. Okay, now if we just go inside the database, you can see that there's a table users. Right now, there are no records. Let's test this out. So we do have localhost 8080/registrations. And we have actually this email, mobile number, and date of birth. And let's execute this. Now, this is good. And let's see what is there. Okay. So now we have this record over here in the database. And now let's understand what are the pros and, what are the different variations that we do have. If you just go to this one, here I have used only MySQL DB. That is the service name of the MySQL. That's it. This is a MySQL DB. That is the service name. Okay. And here since user registration system and MySQL DB are part of the same network. Why? How they are part of the same network? If you just see it over here on the top, let's go to the top first. And can you see this? It has actually created a network, user registration system default. And under this network, we do have registration container and MySQL container. So what are these container names, right? This is a container name and this is a container name for MySQL. So since we have given the container names, it will actually take these names as container names. Now, since they are part of the same network, that means whatever I have said, right, in the initial beginning days. So Docker Compose tool actually provides communication between two Docker containers. That means, let's say there are n number of services and images and containers. Multiple containers can talk to each other directly with the service name. Port is not a matter over here. Since they're a part of the same network, they don't have to use a different port. They can use the same port instead of using 3307 from here. Got it? So that's the reason I have kept 3306 only, because this user registration system and this MySQL DB, which is having containers as registration and MySQL, these two containers can talk to each other directly with the service name. So that's the reason here we have actually given the service name. And since they are part of the same network, we don't have to use the exposed port. We can just use the internal port. That's very simple. And this is the total idea how it is actually connecting to the database, which is running inside a Docker. And here, if you can see that we are not using local database, we are actually using the container database. Now let's see, I just wanted to do some more things. Okay, I just wanted to remove this ports information. And let's say what I need to do now. I just wanted to, stop this and clear this console again. Let's wait for some time. It is actually stopping the containers. Just clear it and do the Docker Compose up again. And now let's go to this one. Since we have not exposed the port, right? So let's see what is going to happen now. So can you see this? MySQL is recreated. And then it is going to start the application. So right now it is not going to create the tables again and again because the database and tables are already there. So it will just start the application instead of creating the tables again. So that's the total idea. And that is the flag that we have actually given over here, which is DDL as update. If it is created, then probably it will create the tables again and again for every start of the application. Okay. So now what we are going to do, if I just go to this MySQL Workbench, and if I just click on this one, it will directly go to this one without asking any password. See here, there's no connection established. Since we have not exposed the MySQL database, and you can see that, see here. So I just wanted to change this to test 11. And I just wanted to change the mobile number as 8709081. Okay. So now I just wanted to hit this again and hey, user has been registered successfully. But how I can see the records? Because I cannot access the Docker container MySQL directly. So since it has not exposed it, so we'll not be able to access it. So can you see this one? So since we have not exposed it, we'll not be able to establish it. Let's close this application. And there's something called ports. Okay, and here I can just do 3307 and 3306. 3307 is already taken by my local machine MySQL database 3306. I can access it only through 3307. Okay, so that's the reason 3307, and it will reroute its request to the container MySQL, which is running on 3306, so that we can see the records. That's the total idea. And now let's stop this application. And let's clear this and let's do a Docker Compose up again. And MySQL is recreated because it has a change, right, in the service. So it doesn't have to start the registration container because it is already running. Okay. So now what I can do, I'll just go to this and Now, if you can see, it is asking for the password because we have exposed the port 3307. So I can access the Docker container MySQL directly with this one. Okay, so then we should create the date too. And see here, in the first time, we have actually inserted one record. And now if you see here again, here there is a second record. Got it? So that's the total idea behind the scenes, how it is actually working. Got it? Okay. Now I just wanted to explain some more things in a clear way. So if I just wanted to use this MySQL, I just wanted to remove this. And let's go to this one and stop everything. Let's stop this one. So it is actually stopping. It is also stopped. So let's clear this. And let's go to the Docker desktop. Remove all the containers that we do have and also the images, because I just wanted to show one use case where you will understand it clearly how it is actually working behind the scenes. So I just wanted to remove the volumes. I will also explain about these volumes a bit later, but not right now. Yeah. Now there are no containers images. Now what I can do, I can just go and simply start Docker Compose up without any changes. Okay, but I have done only one change, which is instead of keeping MySQL underscore database, I have just kept database as registrations. Okay, now we'll do the observations. What is this actually doing? Again, it is going to pull the MySQL image. Okay, it is starting the MySQL and parallelly it is going to start the registration. Now, if you can see for the first time, it is actually not going to, connect to the database. But here the problem is, can you see this one? Can you see the error? It's a communications links failure. And it was unable to connect to the database. Let the DB up for the first time. So here port is still 0. It is actually starting. See how many time registration is getting started, right? So let's wait for some time. And here MySQL is parallelly running as well. So let's go down. And here, can you see this? MySQL has been started. And now we will see some strange issue, which is something related to access denied for user Docker MySQL to database registrations. That means registrations database is not there. And now if you can just go inside this one and close this and access this again, there is no registrations database. Can you see this? So that's the reason for this failure. Okay, that means whatever we are using over here, the same naming convention, because this is the naming convention for creating the new user and the password for the root account and databases registrations. Okay, so this is the only reason why we need to use only this naming conventions, especially for the MySQL image. These are the environment properties, and you cannot change like MySQL, underscore something like DB. You cannot use this. You have to use exactly the same naming convention. Otherwise, it will not be able to. Got it? So now, right now I have just changed it to MySQL underscore database. Now, if I just run this again, let's see what is going to happen. Okay, so let's clear this and do Docker Compose up. So container registration is already running and it was unable to connect to the database. Now, can you see this? It is actually going to give the same error which it has given before. Can you see this one? That means even when we run Docker Compose up, it was not going to update this particular database to registrations. The reason being, Docker Compose tool caches the images. Do you know about caching? That means once the image is created, the image is constant. We cannot update the environment variables from changing from MySQL. Before that it was like this, right? So we will not be able to update it. Okay, so Docker Compose tool is going to cache the Docker images. If we have to create the image again, then what we need to do, we need to stop the Docker container, delete it, just delete the image also and the volumes also. Let's stop this image. Let's wait for some time. Now go to the images and delete these images, because unless we create it from scratch, the registrations database will never be created. So that's the total idea, and delete this forever. And here, I just wanted to make sure that MySQL underscore database is there. And I just wanted to do a clear command again. And I just wanted to do Docker Compose up again. And now, can you see this? MySQL DB, again, it is actually creating a new image with the database registrations also. Because Docker Compose tool, once the image is created, especially I'm saying about MySQL. MySQL is not a custom image which we have prepared. It is already existed in the Docker Hub. So we are actually pulling it and installing the database in our Docker container so that user registration system can access the MySQL database, which is running inside the Docker container. But if you can see this, I can change the environment variables also, right? So I can change this spring.application.names to some other name if I just give environment variable over here, something like this, right? So we can also give environment. So here we can change it, the environment variables, because it will update. But why? Because this is a custom application and the custom image that we are going to give .build. So when anything is changes inside the application, this Docker file is going to pick up the latest jar with the latest changes. But this is not a custom image. This is a image which is already provided by the Docker departments, right? So probably we need to use this image. And if you just wanted to update the environment variables, you will not be able to update it. But you will be able to expose the port and de-expose the port. So that's the total thing. But you will never be able to update the environments. If you just wanted to update the environments, you have to delete the containers, images, volumes, and then recreate it from the fresh start time. So then only it will be able to. So can you see this? It has started the registration, but here it is actually creating the table users, and then it is successful. Now, if you see here, there are so many restarts. Can you see this one? So we will start from here. So here MySQL is getting started. It is not started yet. So here it is a communications links value. That means it was unable to connect to the database. It is an error. Okay. So now once it is not connecting to database, it is starting again. Can you see this? Can you see this? It is starting again. Again, the MySQL is not started yet. It has waited for that particular time. Again, it's failed. And again, it is going to start the Spring Boot application. So here it is actually started. See here, it is actually started. Now, for the third time when it is actually starting, it has actually connected to the database. So that's the reason of this particular restart always. This is something like a retry, but there is a better way. Only MySQL DB has to be started first, and then only user registration system has to be started. So there is something called a health check command. So I will let you know about this, but not right now. So right now, restart always, what it will do, when it is unable to connect to the database, the application will fail to start, right? So if the application is failed to start, it will restart it again as many number of times unless it actually connects to the MySQL DB. So that is the flag that we have actually created, restart as always. That means restart this user registration system if it is not starting perfectly. That's the total idea. Until unless it's connected to the database, it will restart continuously. Okay. So once it actually connects to the database, then probably it has stopped the application starting. So here, can you see this? There, once it actually started the application, see here, started user registration application in 19 seconds. So that's the total idea. And then it made the app. So now if I just go and save this record, user registered successfully. And if you just go to this one, I just wanted to close this and open this again. Just wanted to give the password. And that's all. And here, I just wanted to open the registrations, users, and this one. And see here. Sir, where are the previous records? Because we have created the image from scratch again, right? So that's the reason. Okay. So that's the total idea. And this is how we actually connect, so here, Docker Compose is a tool where we can define n number of services, and those services are going to connect with each other inside a common network. And if you can see here, there's a common network created by the Docker Compose tool only. Once we run this Docker Compose app, it has actually created a default network. Can you see this? So under this network, this container can talk to this container, or this container can talk to this container directly by using the service name. And that is what exactly I have used. Since they are part of the same network, they don't have to use, I don't have to mention 3307 over here. Since they are part of the same network, they can directly communicate with each other with the service name, and they can directly interact with the container directly with the 3306. That's the reason I have given 3306. But here, if you just see this, this is my local application. For this local application, I have actually exposed the port. Can you see this one? Until unless, if I don't expose this port also, it will work. That means Docker container is having the MySQL database. It is actually running, but I just wanted to see what are all the records which it has stored from our local machine. Then probably it has to expose the port so that I can access localhost 3307 like this from here. Can you see this one? Edit connection. Can you see this? I have used 3307 because it has exposed, so I can use it from my local host. So the alternative form for this local host is 127.0.0.1. And if I just go and check it in the Postman, I just wanted to replace this with 127.0.0.1. And I just wanted to hit enter. Okay, so it has actually thrown the error. It has duplicate entry. Let me change the email and also the mobile number. So 63030, that's it. And I just wanted to send this, and the user is registered successfully. Okay. The local host is having IP address, that is this one. That's the total idea. Okay. So Docker OS will have its own local host, and our operating system also has same local host 127.0.0.1. Okay. And let me see what are the. Yes, PN Rao. So I think, yes, it's a public port which can be accessed by everyone. Private port is actually the port which is used by Docker container in order to run the MySQL image, correct? That's the total idea. Yes, you are right. So instead of mentioning it as public port, you can make it as exposed port also. We call it as an exposed port, okay? We call it as public port also. You can imagine the same, okay? So Akash, do you have any questions? Everyone is clear? Suresh. Yes, Suresh.
At some point of time, you showed that it's both are in the same network, right? How do you decide, because both MySQL and Docker both are running on the same machine? That's why, or how do you?
No. See, that's what I said, right? So when you are defining any services inside a Docker Compose will create a common network for all the services.
Oh, okay.
It's the job of Docker Compose tool, which will create a common network. So here, the registration container can talk to the MySQL container directly with the service name. And that's what I have provided over here, the MySQL DB as a service name. But here, when they're communicating directly with the service name, they don't need exposed port. They can communicate directly with the container port. That's the total idea.
But in real life, like let's say the SQL is not on Docker side, is somewhere else, because that's a secure thing. So in that case,
no. See, I'll tell you the different ways of setting up this database. So if you just wanted to, set up your database in a Linux environment, what you will do? You'll install the database server, MySQL server. I will show you 1 second. So can you see this?
Yeah.
MySQL server, you need to install. MySQL router, you need to install. MySQL shell, you need to install. And MySQL workbench, you need to install. And this is a MySQL installer. So all these 5 things you need to install from in your own Linux environment. Do you do all these kind of things? Or do you want it to go with Docker image, which is already provided by the Docker department, right? So this is a cumbersome. This is a manual process, right? So this is a manual process. So that is an automated process. So what we are actually doing, we are actually installing the MySQL database inside the Docker container. And if I just wanted to see what are all the records which are stored in the database, I can just expose it to the outside world using 3307, so that I can see what are all the records which are saved in the Docker MySQL database. I can see it from a local machine like this. That's the total idea, Suresh.
So, but this is kind of for testing purpose, right? But in real life,
this is not, no. This is not a kind of testing purpose. In real time, they will not be exposing the ports.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they will be going to the they will be logging to the specific environment, whether it is a dev, QA, pre-prod, that means UAT or production, and they can access the database directly over there. That's the total idea.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Okay. Yeah. Neha. So in Docker Compose YAML, we can change username and password, or it should be same as we mentioned, root and Docker MySQL. No. 1 second, Neha. I'll just unmute you, and I just wanted to explain the possible ways. Neha, please unmute from your side. Neha, can you speak? Okay, I think there is a problem from your side. I am not able to hear your voice, Neha. Is it with me only, or no one is able to hear? Can you please confirm? Okay, so I think, Neha, there's a problem. So let me ask your, see here. Here you can give whatever the MySQL root password. See, whenever you are installing MySQL database in your machine, right? So probably you will download the MySQL DB software. You will just double click on that. And probably during the installation process, you know that by default, MySQL username is root. And it is going to ask us, hey, can you just create the password for your root account? So we'll be actually creating the root password. So here we are exactly doing the same. So once it is done, it is actually going to create the root account. But every time we do not operate on root account, we actually create user accounts. So for this root account, I'm just creating Docker MySQL and MySQL password as Tanvi Shanmukhi @2. And then probably it is actually going to use these credentials for the new database with this username Docker MySQL. So that's the total idea. So you can give whatever the names that you want. So you can give the root password as different, MySQL user as different, and also password as different. Okay. But make sure that whatever the MySQL database you are going to give over here, mention the same over here. Okay. That's the total idea. That's it. Hope, Neha, you are clear. Is that okay? Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so Akash, I just wanted to unmute you. 1 second.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Yes,
am I
Akash, tell
audible?
me. Yeah, you're audible, Akash. Tell me.
Yeah. Sir, my question was, we are providing the MySQL database service name into our application dot properties inside
Yes,
URL.
right. Correct, correct,
Correct.
correct, correct.
Correct. So, after providing this name and after modifying this application dot properties, we are
Hmm.
going to rebuild this by
Yes, right,
using
exactly.
MVN clean install.
Right, right,
Okay.
exactly.
So at that time, this URL means how can this URL get this MySQL? Because in our local there is a
Hmm.
no MySQL as
But
a
this is
host.
just a build, right? We are not running it, right, Akash?
But I am getting some exceptions
Okay,
at that
okay.
time.
Yeah, that's what, that's what. So,
Right.
so here probably you might have this test folder, right? So where
Okay.
it will be connecting to the local database,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So here we need to do two changes, first of all. So
Uh-huh.
if you just go to this Docker Compose, so you need to provide some environment variables over here.
Okay.
Okay. So here the environment variable, you don't have to use exactly this same naming conventions.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can use the host as host. This is our own environment properties. Okay. So
Okay.
here I just wanted to give the host as MySQL DB. Okay.
Okay.
And then the username, that means DB underscore username as, what is the username? This one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Docker MySQL.
Yeah. So Docker MySQL. And password is the same, right?
Yes.
So, and now here, what I can do instead of mention. So right now, if I just wanted to run this application, what will happen? So just run this application. So it will say that it is unable to connect to the database, correct? So
Correct.
this is
Correct.
a local application. It is
Yes.
running on local. So
Yes.
local machine cannot access Docker container, right?
Correct.
So it is unable to connect to the yeah. So now if you
Host.
can see that, yeah, no, 1 second. And if you see this application.yaml, sorry, go to this application.yaml. Yeah. So here, unable to determine dialect. So can you see this?
Yes.
Go to the top. Yeah. The communication links failure, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
here, when we are actually running on local, it is not going to recognize MySQL DB. It is actually going to recognize localhost.
Local.
Yeah. So now what I just wanted to do, I just wanted to remove this and I just wanted to keep a dollar. And here on the left side, you need to give the Docker Compose related username. Host, take this. When you are using Docker Compose, okay, it will take this data from Docker Compose and replace that with MySQL DB. And if you are running it in local, it will take the right side part.
Yes.
Okay, so let me tell you what is going to happen over here. So here I just wanted to use this username as Docker DB username. And I think password is same. You don't have to change that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so here the DB username by default, the root username of my local account is root. Okay, now if I just run this application, just run this application and see, it is going to pick up localhost and the username as root. The right set properties will be picked up. See here, it is actually starting the Hikari pool and initialized everything. Okay, the port 8080 was already in use, so I just have to make some changes. 1 second. So what I can do now, I'll just stop this Docker container of the user registration service because port 8080 is already being used for this, right? So just stop this application and just rerun this again and run this application. Can you say this?
Yes, yes, started.
So it is basically using, so when you run the application in local, make sure that the right side properties you define related to local environment. But right now, I just wanted to do one more thing. Okay, so I just wanted to do Maven clean install, because we do have changes, right?
Yes.
Maven clean install. When we are doing Docker Compose up, then left side value will be replaced with the Docker Compose environment variable value. So that's the total idea. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
that's it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Akash. So if you just wanted to run in local as well as in Docker parallelly, so do always these changes so that when you are running it in local, then probably it will pick up the right side value. And if you are running Docker Compose up, then probably it will pick up the left side value. Okay, so that's the total idea. So now if I just go and run this application again, so Docker Compose up. So MySQLDB is already running. So probably the container registration will be recreated. Okay, port ATT is already in use. I just have to stop this application in local. And I just wanted to do Docker Compose up. Now it is actually starting. That's it. It has started the application. In Docker as well as in local also, we can run directly without doing any changes. If you are using Docker Compose up, then probably this $host value will be replaced with this one. And then DB username will be replaced with this value. And that's it. Okay, so that's the total idea. Any questions? Gaurav. Hey, Gaurav.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, hi, Gaurav. Tell me.
Sir, that MySQL image, we are simply pulling that image from a Docker Hub, right, sir?
Yeah, right, exactly.
And for that user registration, that image is created using that Docker file. Am I right, sir?
Yes, correct.
Okay, yeah, sir. So that's for registration, we need that Docker file. Okay, yeah, yeah, sir. And one more thing, sir. If you have pushed any image on Docker Hub, can you please show us that?
Pushing the image on Docker Hub, right? Yeah, we'll see that. We'll see that. Anyhow, we are going to push that. Even I have actually pushed some images. Repositories. I've actually pushed this user registration system long back, 2 months ago. Okay. So I will tell you, there is a simple command, Docker push and the image name. That's it.
It is kind of GitHub like, sir.
Yes, right. The same. It is just like GitHub. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But if you just click on this and you have this something called Docker. This is the image, right? So probably you have tag version 1.1 dev and all these kind of things. Probably what you can do, Docker pull space, then / user -registration service. Everyone will be able to pull this image using Docker. So that's the total idea. Okay. But we'll see how it is actually going to work behind the scenes. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. And Suresh, tell me, Suresh.
Yeah, one small question. Like, you gave the Docker up command, and you mentioned that for the data source URL, like it will take the host value from the properties.
Okay. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
So what is this command? Like, is it how it's working? Like, it's Java properties or from how it's working? Like it's related to
no. See, this is a placeholder value, Suresh. So if it is actually considering, so see, normally when you are running your application in local, it will not be able to recognize this because it doesn't know what is this value, dollar host.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Right. So
That's
because
correct.
local environment is not having this variable anywhere defined. So probably it will not consider this and it will take this one because it recognizes local host because it is local to this machine, right? Okay. And now let's say if you are going to run this application using Docker Compose up, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Now if you see that these images are actually having some environment variables, right? So Docker Compose will actually recognize, so because it has this application.yaml also, right?
Yeah.
When we actually run Docker Compose up, it knows the complete jar and the build file of this application.yaml also. Once it sees $host, hey, he has used $host. Let's see whether I have this environment variable or not. So there is something called host. Hey, host is already there. So it will understand that MySQL DB value has to be replaced with this $host. And it will not be able to recognize localhost. It is only recognize the $host because this is the environment variable which is already defined in the Docker Compose environment properties. So that's the total idea. The only thing, Suresh, what I just wanted to say, let's say this application has been already committed, and let's say people just wanted to test that in the local database, right? So they don't have to do any modifications in this, first of all. If they just wanted to run in local machine, they can just replace this right side properties, and then they can just commit. Then what they can do, they can just test the application in the local database. And if they just wanted to commit, they don't have to commit this application.yaml because this is a constant. That's it.
No, I was thinking $host would be because $curly bracket host and then colon and then we are closing the curly bracket, right? So,
right, exactly. Yeah.
So we have to, is it something like it will take the partial thing, or if you have to use $host?
No, dollar is basically used for
host. Yeah.
Dollar is basically used for
get the value.
No. Dollar is basically used as a placeholder for this property. It's just like a replacing option. So if you don't mention dollar, then probably it will not be recognized. Can you if I have explained in the beginning days, we have something called in Spring we do have something called Spring @value.
Yeah, I know that. But there we use dollar and we give we close the curly bracket, right? So dollar value it will reach the property.
Right, exactly the same.
Pass the key here and
no. We can use the same thing also inside. So let me explain you. Okay, so let me take this one first of all. So from application.properties, correct? So people doesn't know that @value will be closed directly. Okay, so let's go to this. So right now they are going to use like this, right? Correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So now I will tell you if this variable or if this property is not defined, what will happen?
It will take some default value.
How it can take a default value? Yeah. So how we can give? Yeah. How we can give a default value?
Equal to something.
No. I have not covered this. Okay, but it's a part of different other. Okay, so here I just wanted to give.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Oh, colon.
Colon default value. Yeah, that's it. If it is not recognizing this property, now you're okay, right?
Yeah. Now.
Very good. Okay, thank you. That's a very good question, Suresh. Thank you for raising it. But anyhow, we will see all those things when we start the mini project. Okay, I think we will start the mini project in a day or 2 days. Okay, but I hope these things are really clear to everyone. And let's see what are all the other questions that we do have, sir. While doing Maven clean install also, it will recognize this MySQL DB service name. So you gave very good solution to handle this scenario. Okay, that's fine, Akash. It is already, if you know this, how this dollar and the environment property which is defined inside the application.yaml or application.properties, how it is actually going to pick up, we can just give @ value dollar and the property name. If that property is not existed, we will get an error. You know that? If that property is not there, we will get an error. Okay, so let me show that to you in a simple web-based application that we do have. Anyhow, I will be committing all this code today, and also I will be, creating a readme.md file where I just wanted to keep the commands and the explanation how it is actually getting created. Okay, so let me go and pick this up demo, and let's see what is going to happen. Let me stop everything. So and close this. Thank you, Suresh, for raising the point. Close this one as well. And now I just wanted to go to this application.yaml. And I just wanted to give one custom property. Let's say API. And the key name is, let's say I just wanted to write one API key. Okay, so let's say this is the API key. Let's imagine for the dev. Okay, so we do have the API key. So these are not internal properties, right? So probably it is actually, sorry. Yeah. So now I just wanted to go to this test controller, and here I just wanted to use private string API key @ value. And here I just wanted to use a dollar. What's the property? API.key, right? So I just wanted to return this API key as a string directly from here. Okay. Now, just run this application and let's see without this property what will happen. I just wanted to remove this and I just wanted to start this application. Now see what will happen behind the scenes. See here. Error creating object for test controller. See the further error. Could not resolve placeholder API.key in value. And now, if I just go to this controller and if I give some default value, let's say I just wanted to give okay. Now start this application again. It started. Good, very good. What happened? 80 only, right? Let me go and see this test controller. What is this, man? Okay. Okay, this is not getting recognized. What is 8080? But why it is not reaching? Any guesses from anyone? In Docker Compose file. No. This is not a problem, right? So, okay, for now, let me see why it is not happening. So it is actually starting on, hey, what is this one, man? Oh, it is actually started on 8081. It's strange, right? So let me see if I have, okay, so let me replace this one. And let's execute this. Oh, it started on 80. Okay, anyhow, we are getting this, but let's see what is this one. It's port 8080. Why it has started on 8081? Somewhere something is there, or I think this will not come to picture first of all. But why it is actually not taking this one? Okay, so let me define like this, and let me restart this application. Okay, let me replace this with 8080 and see what is going to happen. This is a bit strange. Even I was getting shocked why this is happening. Hey, what is happening behind the scenes, buddies? Any guesses? Okay. Okay, let me do one thing. So let me go to the terminal and build this application. Maybe this is in another application. No, this is not. This is the same application, right? I'm just running it, right? Let me. Okay. I have created 2 instances of this. Sorry. I got the point. Okay, so let me remove this application. Delete it. I have actually created 2 instances. One is on 8080 and another is on 8081. So I think that's the total idea. So let me run this application directly from here so that it will start on 8080. Okay, so that's the only difference. I have not seen that there are 2 instances on the top. So now it will start on 8080 only. 8080. Okay, so application.yaml. I just wanted to revert this to this one, event server.port. So, but don't use server.port. I will tell you the reason why. Okay, just wait a bit. Just clear this and stop this application and run this. It will work fine. So there will be no issues. Okay, it will take the 8080 port on the right side. Okay, so this is what it is going to take. That's the total idea. Okay. That's it. 8080 issue resolved, bro. And then I think it is creating one more new instance from. No, it is not creating. I have actually created it previously when I was explaining the Eureka server to some other people. So that's the total idea. Okay. So I hope these things are very much clear to everyone. And if you just wanted to ask any more questions, you can just raise your hands and ask your questions. And I think most probably today, probably most of the people have got a very good idea on this. What is this Docker? So here, the total advantage is right now, if you just go to this application.yaml of the user registration system, just go to this user registration system and this window, terminate. Okay, so here, if you see this $host, let's say there are different Docker Compose YAML files for different versions. So let's say there is a dev environment Docker Compose file, there is a QA environment Docker Compose file, but here the service name will never change. Only the ports information or container names will change most probably, and also this environment variables will change. But if you just see this application.yaml, do we have to change it at any cost at any point of time? No, right? Because this host will be automatically replaced with, no matter what is the Docker Compose environment file that we are using. Right now, this is a simple Docker Compose file. Later on, we will see different environment related Docker Compose YAML file also. Okay, fine. I think most of the things are clear. Gaurav?
Yes, sir. So, sir, here can we make communication between local database and the Docker application?
We can do that. So here, so can you see this one?
Yes. Yeah.
So here, the alternative is see this Ethernet adapter WSL.
Yes. Yeah.
And there will be one IP address over here. Well, first of all, wait of the
IP.
So can you sorry, wireless LAN adapter Wi-Fi. So this is one you need to look into. And there's something called IPv4 address. So here we have something like IP address of your machine. This is the IP address of your own machine. And just copy paste this over here. And that's it. This will work because in our local, in our machine, the IP of this machine is 192.162.29.204. Okay, this is the IP address of my machine. Okay, and right now in my IP machine, I'm having this registration database which is running on 3307, right?
Yes.
This is the only way.
Okay, sir.
Got it?
Yeah, using IP address. Okay.
Yeah, and you can use Docker MySQL. That's it. That's very simple. But this will not work because if you are just giving your IP address, if it is just being committed, how it is going to execute in remaining people system, right? So it is always better to go through Docker Compose instead of going with IP addresses of the machines. Okay, it's not a best practice, but this is the alternative way. Okay, so that's the total idea. You can just test it from your side and let me know after your testing. Okay, so that's the total idea. Suresh?
Yeah, I have another question. Like, I actually am using my new laptop. So the minimum thing is like JDK 11 and IntelliJ. These two things we require, and that's it, right?
JDK 17, Suresh.
Sorry, 17. Yeah. IntelliJ, which version I can go for?
Yeah, any version is fine. You can just download IntelliJ Community. That's fine.
Community version, okay.
Community edition, that will be fine.
And one general question I had, like I was trying some integration testing using all the Spring Boot notations. Like for example, we have WebMVC test, and we have what you call data Mongo test. So there are so many annotations we have, right? So I was trying to explore all the annotations provided by Spring Boot. So do we have any particular website or somewhere we can refer? Any your knowledge or
frankly to say, Suresh, I actually follow I never look into that Google articles. Yeah. So most probably I will take one picture of my room. There are so many books in my room. So I always prefer books instead of going. Yeah, I always read books a lot. So instead of going through Google articles,
I was just trying to see anything that can be directly useful. That I was trying.
But right now, Suresh, I just wanted to say one thing. Right now, if you see whatever the examples are there given in any of the Google articles, most of the things are outdated. Because right now in Spring 6.x, there are so many changes related to so many APIs, even the test cases also. But I will let you know about these annotations maybe in 2 to 3 weeks. You don't have to worry about that. We will write the test cases also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to do some all integration testing where we have multiple services, multiple layers. I'm trying to do everything.
Sure. We will do that, Suresh. We'll do that together once we actually start developing our mini project. So we'll start that in 2 days. 2 days.
And Docker we'll be using for our project, right?
Yeah, completely Docker. That's the reason I'm just discussing about this Docker in the initial beginning stage. Otherwise, people will confuse when I start the mini project and start explaining Docker. People will confuse. So that's the reason. Simple examples how to start with Docker. What is the Docker Compose tool? Why it is actually useful, right? So if I say all these things in the beginning, once I start the microservices designing, then if I define multiple services in the Docker Compose YAML file, then people will not get confused.
Yes, sure. Another question was like I was trying to do some like CRUD operation using in-memory database. So in the console, it was not showing that data like a table is created or something like that. It just
okay.
So what do we need? What is the reason? Any idea?
So basically, what you need to do, you need to enable this flag show SQL true.
No, I did that, but I'm not sure. It's not.
No, you are working with embedded database, right?
Yeah, correct.
This is actually for So I think I have already explained you the embedded database also, right? It was showing the. Okay, let me do one thing. Okay, so so instead of using JDB SQL and MySQL, I'll use H2. Mem and the DB is registrations. This is the one, right?
Okay,
this is the embedded database, and for the embedded database, by default the username is SA for the H2 database. Just wanted to remove this for now. Okay. And here we do have something like spring.data source something called H2 console. So there is something called enabled as true. And settings, web allow others. Okay, and do we have any other properties? I think that's the only thing, right? Now, just go to this pom.xml and let's comment out this H2. And you have to comment out this one because we are not using MySQL. Just refresh it and let's see why you are not going to get the things in the right way.
I think this should work. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Now let's start this application. Let me go to this application.yaml. Server.port is 88 only. Okay. It is actually asking me to. Oh, it is already there, right? I can run this simply. Yeah. Run this. It's actually reloading. Just wait for some time.
I think this will solve the purpose.
See here?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, let's open the console of the H2. Localhost 8080. And the console, if you don't know the URL, I think it will be already exposing that. This one. Copy paste this. And there you go. And here you do have this and connect to this. And here you have the database, run it. Now you will execute the same. So just execute this. User registered successfully. And if you run this, you can see the data. And if you see the log, it has actually
indicated
You know?
that.
Yeah, indicated that. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has actually inserted that. That's it, very simple. You just have to enable this show SQL, otherwise you will not be able to see the SQL logs. That's the total idea. Yeah. Okay, Suresh. But anyhow, this is a revision for everyone. So hope I will be committing these 2 applications. You can just have a look. Probably I will commit this application maybe afternoon or by end of the day, and I will post you in the Telegram whether this application has been committed or not. I'll be committing 2 branches. One is with the embedded database, and another one is with the MySQL database. Okay, so that you can test both the things together in the same time. Okay, I think hope this is helpful, and probably I'll meet you tomorrow. And tomorrow we will concentrate on the main thing. So here, user registration system is actually starting a number of times unless it's connected to the DB, right? So first we have to make sure that MySQL DB has to start first. Once it is started and up and running, then only user registration has to start. Okay, so there is something called a health check command that we can give during this application running. So we will see that tomorrow. Okay. Is classes there tomorrow? Yes. Why? For online? Krupa. So for online, I think okay, so you are going to vote somewhere, or how it is like, Krupa? I think we have the session at oh, okay then. Probably it's a very small health check command that we are going to work tomorrow. So anyhow, I'll be repeating the things again and again tomorrow. So I will not cover new topics tomorrow. So tomorrow also I'll repeat the same to make the people comfortable in Docker and Docker Compose. And from day after tomorrow, we'll start designing our microservices by creating Maven multi-module projects. Okay, so that's the total idea. You don't have to worry about the main project is like a Swiggy-like app. Yeah, that is a major project, but this is a mini project section, which is just like Book My Show, where we'll be using Kafka in order to do asynchronous communication between microservices. But first, why we are using Kafka, we will see the disadvantage, why we are going to use Kafka as an advantage feature. But we'll see all the pros and cons. We'll see that, okay? Don't worry, section. Swiggy app will be the major project, okay? That will be started from the second month. The first month is completely for mini project. Got it? Second month, I will be giving an idea on the Angular framework. It will be really interesting. A lot of things you will learn in front end also. So just wait for the time. That's it. Okay. So have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.